What's up, YouTube? I have another magazine here from way back as a kid. I collected all kinds of Terry Farrell interviews or magazines and stuff, or Dax toys, Dax magazines, and Star Trek things. And yeah, because it was, pretty big back then, and I had a bunch of stuff like this. Anyway, here's another one of those magazines. This real old one I found. I don't remember this, but yeah, this is Cult Times from August 1996, and this was at the time being sold for $4.50. This article that Dax or that Terry did, it says here, Star Trek's Terry Farrell, and there's a picture of Dax. This magazine also has some other stuff. X-Files, I remember that was pretty big too, back in the day. And let's see here. It says Star Trek Terry Farrell has seagulls on her head and kisses girls reluctantly on Deep Space Nine. Page 12. The ratings war. Well, I guess that was always important for those TV shows or movies, no matter what they were. Always wanting the ratings, or more people, or more ratings. What what was on in 1977? I don't know, man. I can only imagine. I mean, dude. TV shows in 1977? Oh, wait a minute. What was... It says here, Trek takes production of the new seasons of Deep Space Nine and Voyager began in early July. Wow. That's amazing. Oh, wow. Cinema goers first contact with Star Trek First Contact began when U.S. picture houses began trailing the film with Independence Day. I guess that came out about the same time. I don't even remember, man. Star Trek 30th anniversary. Yeah. Wow. Oh, here we go. This is a picture of Terry and a picture of Dax. Is it? Yeah. It says playing host. From Red Dwarf to Deep Space Nine, Terry Farrell's life in space. Most actors in a television series only play one role. For Terry Farrell, appearing in Star Trek Deep Space Nine has meant contending not only with the character of Trill host Jadzia, but also her symbiont Dax, and the essence of the many hosts that have preceded her. On a recent visit to London, Terry Farrell spoke to Cult Times. How would you describe the character of Jadzia Dax? Now that I've had 4 years in the part, there's a nice combination of her masculinity and her femininity. In the very beginning, I didn't know that much about her background, with all the different lifetimes that she'd lived. Now I've found there's a balance in each script where one character, say Curzon, will come out and be a bit more masculine and abrasive with Cisco, and it won't work, and it wouldn't work maybe later in another scene. I need to be a bit more feminine. It's not like insane personality changes. She's very centered, and she has very different facets to her personality. How would you describe yourself? I think that's one of the hardest questions anyone's ever asked. Particularly as an actor, you don't want to reveal too much about what you are. I think there's blocks I venture to go around to check out the world, and there's blocks I've been forced around to check out the world. My sister and I were having a conversation about how some people just have a better capacity to be happy and optimistic than others. I feel fortunate that I have an innate sense of optimism that I thank God for whenever it clicks in. When you feel like the chips are down, it just gets me through. It's a constant discovery, wanting to change and grow and become something else. I'm grateful for every experience I've had. There's nothing I wish I didn't happen, even terrible things, because I learn from everything. Are you a confident person? I've been told that I'm not as confident as I should be. I need to trust myself more. I hope that will come with age and experience, that I will learn to trust myself more and more. You were the last member of the DS9 crew to be cast and joined the show weeks into the filming of the pilot episode. How did you feel at the time? Totally intimidated. I don't have theater experience, and we were on this huge set in ops. In real life it's quite large, and I was visualizing it being much smaller than it is, and there being more intimacy. I had technobabble pretty much the whole first show. The crew were all waiting for that. There was this enormous pressure, which I let undermine me. I let it get to my confidence. I could see the crew, if I didn't get it in 1 or 2 takes, roll their eyes. Your job as an actor is to read feelings, and when you get that while they're saying you just relax and take your time, you're very good at picking up at what they really mean between the lines. I let everybody get to me. Even thinking about it is making me feel nervous right now. It was such an awful feeling. It took me so long to feel comfortable. Nobody wants to be your buddy because they've already worked together for 6 weeks. Weren't all your scenes for the pilot shot within the space of a few days? From the very last week we shot all of my stuff, and I had bronchitis. It's very strange watching it back. I was told not to move my hands or my arms or anything, and I looked like I had a stick up my butt. It was so weird. At the same time, I'm grateful for it now because I had to crawl through glass to get them to respect me and to get myself to respect myself as an actress. I didn't realize how hard it was going to be. At face value, from the couple of scenes I had to read at the audition, I was just so excited about the character and the part. I really didn't fathom how huge and difficult the job really was. I don't think people give sci-fi actors enough credit for how hard the dialogue is. It's much more difficult than it looks. We'll have guest stars many times over saying, "Oh my God, this is so much harder than I thought it would be." Consequently, we're not up for awards a lot of the time because we're voted for by our peers, and it's a sci-fi show. I have great support for my guest star. I have great support for any guest star we have. I help them out and make them feel good because I know how I felt. How did you approach playing a character who has several lifetimes of experience? I have quite a few female friends who are 10 to 15 years older than myself, so it was easy to get their advice on how I could be more maternal because I don't have children, how to be more mature, more diplomatic, not as judgmental, as exciting as it was to have somebody that complex. It was just as scary to try and approach it. I didn't know quite how to approach it. I just had to learn along the way. Is it true that your early scenes had to be reshot because the producers decided to change Jadzia's makeup? Yes, we shot for 2 days and then they changed the makeup and hair completely. In the first test, I had no eyebrows, and I thought it looked the most interesting. In the Next Generation episode, the host, the Trill character, had a full forehead, no eyebrows, and the piece went down to his upper lip. They just eliminated the piece from the middle of the eyebrows to the top of the lip, and they gave me the whole forehead. Then they flipped out about that. It just got reduced to this thing that looked like a seagull on my forehead, and it really looked like somebody had taken a baseball bat and hit me across the forehead. It looked really strange, so they took it off and settled on the spots. They said, "We hired this beautiful girl. What did you do to her?" I thought, thank you. I'd be really happy to lose the prosthetic piece. They have photos of the original makeup, and the very first press conference I had my original forehead. It was a really strange strange picture of us in a cave. How did the leopard spots come about? They had a girl called Famke Janssen on an episode of the Next Generation. I read for The Perfect Mate. That's why it took me so long to read for Deep Space Nine, because I'd auditioned for The Next Generation and it did not go well. This girl Famke did the part, and she had spots on her forehead and on her back, and they said, "You know, we should do the spots because that was really sexy." Alright, this is another pretty long interview, so I will continue this in the next part.